Hey guys, I'm just here. I thought I would review the upcoming um, potential balance changes for Minion Masters 1.50 because I wanted to give some opinions on the buffs, nerfs, or reworks that are going to be potentially taking place in the next patch. Of course, these are all potential changes, and none of them actually are set in stone. So what you see here, you just have to kind of take with a grain of salt. And yeah, I'll just get right into it. I've briefly skimmed over these before. I haven't put them, I haven't put too much thought into them, so this will be more or less a first time viewing. I will not be looking at the new cards because I do not really participate in the PTR, but that doesn't mean I still can't look at the numbers on paper and form an opinion. So, first off, buffs to the Demon Warrior. The damage is going up from 75 to 90, which is quite nice. Demon Warrior hasn't really been the same since they nerfed it. Well, reworked it, which turned out to be a nerf in my opinion. So 90 damage, which will be 180 at full stacks, which is pretty good considering it was basically just a woodsman with rage. Next one is Fang the Wanderer, getting a small HP buff, which will help a bit. 325 was pretty low. Even with a shroom and spirit, he was still pretty weak. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but with this buff, it'll help him be a little healthier, I think. Ghast summons skeletons that have rush, which is good because basically whenever he summoned a skeleton, it would instantly die without even getting a hit off. So it's basically just a cheap little meat shield. So this might help a bit. I don't think it will. Ghast still feels pretty bad in my opinion. Giving the skeletons rush isn't going to help a ton in my opinion. Ghost Turret getting a 50 HP buff, which is fantastic because I think that it is a little too weak in the current meta. Yeah, the spirit's kind of nice, but it doesn't hit air. It's got a pretty short range, so I think 50 extra HP might help it become a little better defensively. It could be used more as a wall, but we'll see how that goes. King Puff, trick swap cooldown going down by 5 seconds, which is pretty crazy in my opinion. I think that's a great buff. I think you'll see a lot more King Puff soon. Magma Storm next, going up from 12 to 13 fireballs. I think Magma Storm was already very strong. I don't understand why they buffed it. I mean, it's still very RNG based, so it could be almost insignificant, but that extra fireball that's an extra 180 potential damage, which is a lot. I know it's potential damage towards yourself, but like actually that's 200 now because of the fireball change, which we will see. Nearverse Slumber is the spell you get from the dragon before you reach a Curse Ascensions, getting a small damage buff, which will be good. Might kill a few more things, which is nice. Rampant Growth getting a heal buff. It's funny because they spent like 3 or 4 patches in a row nerfing this spell, and now it's barely getting used even though shrooms are already strong, but they're giving it a buff. 10 HP, not that significant, so I don't think I'm too worried about that one. Slitherbound getting a poison duration buff, which is 0.5 seconds. That's a lot of extra damage per hit, which is good, especially when you get the free Slitherbound from Slitherbind, so not a bad buff there. Snap Freeze will snap instantly, which is great. So no longer you have to time it, and you might take a hit before it freezes your target, so that'll be kind of nice. And then the slow, obviously, I think remains afterwards. This is the one I was curious about. 3 to 4 Legionnaires on Wolf Among Sheep. Back in the day, which wasn't too long ago, this was actually a very strong card. The 4 Legionnaires, and then for 1 extra mana, you get a wolf. Well, one of the Legionnaires gets the werewolf buff. So I think this is a great buff. I think this card will see a lot of play again. especially with Once Bitten being quite strong now. You could do a Once Bitten combo with this, get 2 werewolves for 9 mana, plus 2 other legionnaires. And one of the werewolves will have rage, so that's pretty good. Reworks, emergency reserves. I don't really know why they're considering this a rework, but it's more of just a quality of life change. So, like, when you're in pre-mades or randoms right now, if you have this card and you use it, only one of your opponents the entire game will get the benefit of the reduced card cost. But now it will alternate between, which is awesome. Fireball getting a damage increase from 180 to 200, which helps it kill the Succubus, Musketeer, and I think a couple of other things, but I'm not sure. Extra 20 damage. Master damage is going down to 50% of the 200, which is nice because Fireball face, like the description says, is going to be less likely, which is kind of nice. So I don't think any spells besides Beam of Doom now do over 100 damage to face, because Chain Lightning does 100, Fireball does 100, Beam of Doom does 150. Yeah, I think that's it. And then Grasping Thorns getting a rework. On death, it will spawn a skeleton for each minion that died. Only 3 though. But the damage is just going down a lot. 90 damage. So I don't like that. I think 3 skeletons is not worth that 90 damage. So, because if you're trapping more than one thing in the Grasping Thorns, it's most likely gonna just kill the skeletons anyway. Which I guess maybe it kind of works like an unholy ground in a way, which isn't the worst. So we'll see how that works. It could be actually quite good on a cleaver or something, or yeah, we'll see how that turns out. Nether Step summons swarmers where the minions are teleported to, where X is the amount of Voidborn cards in hand. So when you use it, it sounds like if you have more than one if you have Voidborn cards in hand, you get up to 3 swarmers with it. So it kind of works as like a little escort. So that's kind of cool. Sapphire Pebble going from 2 to 1 mana, removes the Myriad bonus, throws its head on play, destroys self, grows a new pebble after 5 seconds. Damage from 60 to 100, health 100 to 50. So I don't know how I feel about that. The DPS is going down significantly. And I think it only lasts like 10 seconds to begin with, so you get 200 damage, I guess, which isn't the worst. It dies super easily, like Daggerfall will kill it, so, but it's only 1 mana, so it's not the end of the world. It'll be a good cycle card. There aren't many 1 mana cards in the game. It's kind of interesting. We'll see how it goes. Aimbot tech cost from 30 to 35, which isn't enough, I think. Needing 70 tech for the whole thing compared to 60. That's only, yeah, I don't think that's enough. Aimbot's insane right now. I think that should be nerfed more. Battle Shihu, good nerf. That card is insane right now, especially with all the shrooms on the map. Little less tanky. It removes quite a bit of effective health once it has a shroom. It's still going to do its damage on defense, but it might be easier to deal with on your own defense. Shroom Mama can no longer get split from shields, which is kind of nice because shields are pretty accessible with the Bannerman and frickin' Squire Puff, so that'll be a good change. One less thing to split the Shroom Mama makes it a little difficult for people. Overall, I'm not actually unhappy with any of these changes. I think they're all fair. They're pretty minor. This is going to be interesting. Wolf Among Sheep, I think this is going to be very strong. I'm not unhappy with it because I love that card and it's been dead for quite a while. So we'll see how things play out and see if any changes stay or get changed in the PTR. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.